It took extraordinary courage for the handful of whites that helped blacks on the Underground Railroad. We have to believe that they were motivated in part by principle, by religious faith. Um, Maybe some were motivated by desire to stick it to the system, but it was never enough people. And it was always a risk. And remember, they are defying, as of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, the law is that if you are a citizen, you are compelled to assist other citizens in returning your absconding property. So now it's a matter of law, and you could conceivably risk penalties if you did not assist somebody in the return of your freedom-seeking black folk. So you got it's a belief in the system, white supremacy, white privilege. You want to preserve that, but also now we have, as a result of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, you have the force of law nudging you and many people into something you really don't want to do. You'd rather be left alone. You'd rather not be involved as a white person. But here they have fundamentally made you part of the slave catching force. This law is going to be in force all the way into the Civil War. So initially, many of the Army units that are stationed in the DMV are put in that position. And there are many, and the Northern troops, wait a minute, we didn't sign on for this. We'll fight the rebels now, but we didn't sign on to be slave catchers. That they did not do. But in the early years of the Civil War, when things were not quite gelled, we know, for example, about a group of enslaved people who came into DC over the Benning Road Bridge. Over the Benning Road. The history's not there. The history's, I mean, there's no sign. You don't know Benning. Yeah, Captain Benning, a businessman, some say an ex-pirate. He builds the bridge, and they often had toll bridges, and it was a money-making situation at first. Um, can you imagine that the Benning Road Bridge is tied into the Underground Railroad? Or that if you go right now to the intersection of Good Hope Road and Martin Luther King Avenue, just at that intersection, a group of African-centered folk led by an organization called Adasi have put a huge plaque on the wall. I believe it's DC's newest Black History Monument. Uh, and it'll tell you about the Underground Railroad right there at Anacostia. This is before Barry Farm. This is what our ancestors risked. And not enough people know that at least right there at the foot of the Navy Yard Bridge, some people call it the 11th Street Bridge, there's this beautiful plaque that acknowledges some of the hidden history of that part of the city.